DA leader John Steenhuisen has defended the party's controversial election advert that shows the burning of the South African flag. He says the advert is a reminder to voters who will vote for an ANC, EFF and MK Party coalition come the national and provincial elections later this month. He describes the coalition of the parties as a doomsday coalition that would bring an economic decline for the country. Steenhuisen took the party's election campaign to East London in the Eastern Cape under the theme Rescue SA.
The flag, would you defend it in court too?
Yes, of course. It's a political advert, and political adverts are designed to be uncomfortable and to make people think. And the symbolism of that particular advert was that our country's on fire. We've got 42% of our people who don't have work, 84 people being murdered every single day, 7 out of 10 young people cannot get a job. We've got load shedding. Our country is literally on fire, and we need to do something to fix it. And the advert shows exactly what that fixing requires. It requires people to vote for the DA. And that's why at the end of the advert, the flag is restored to its full glory, giving people the call to action. In this election, if you want to rescue the country, you've got to vote for the DA.
You describe it as a doomsday coalition, particularly between the ANC, the EFF and the MK Party and some small parties. Economic decline, you mentioned. Kindly elaborate on that.
Yes, well, of course, if you look at what's happened, not only internationally when those policies are applied, those radical socialist policies that are associated with the Doomsday Coalition, expropriation without compensation, nationalization of banks and mines, nationalization of the Reserve Bank, you end up with what's happened in Venezuela and in Zimbabwe and everywhere else. But we don't even have to use international examples to see the misery and suffering that is wrought by a doomsday coalition. We have municipalities in this country where the doomsday coalition is already a reality. Places like Johannesburg, places like Nelson Mandela Bay, places like Ekurhuleni, and places like eThekwini in KwaZulu-Natal, where this doomsday coalition has switched off the water, it's shut down the economies, and it's consigned the citizens there to suffering and to try and eke out a living there in misery and poverty. That is the consequence of what we're going to have, and that is what the advert warns against, that this is a real prospect. And if you don't come out and vote, or if you vote for one of these mercenary little parties that take the votes and give it to the ANC, you're going to end up with doomsday, not at a municipal level, but at a provincial and national level as well. And I think we've got to avoid that at all costs. So it's a wake-up call for South Africans who are sitting on the fence or who are saying that they're not going to vote.
So at this point, no taking it down.
For the last 2 days, all people are talking about is the DA and the advert and the situation South Africa finds itself in. As a political party, that's exactly where you want to be 3 weeks out from an election.
You also spoke about the high levels of corruption here in the Buffalo City Metro and introduced plans which you have in place to turn the situation around. You mentioned the controversial swimming pool and other issues. And the stoop, which is not too far from us. But are they realistic, what you're bringing to the table for the people of the province?
Yes, absolutely. And if you look at the manifesto, it's not a long laundry list of things that are unachievable. It focuses on 7 key things that you have to get right over the next 5 years if you're going to bring prosperity and opportunity to the country. Ending load shedding and water shedding, creating 2 million new jobs, and we tabled our plan about how we backed up those numbers, making sure that grade 4 learners can read for meaning, ending the assault and gender-based violence in the country and the war against women in the country, and being able to ensure that everyone has access to decent healthcare facilities. Here in the Eastern Cape, people are treated appallingly at public hospitals. People go into those hospitals and they end up worse than they were when they came in. Babies being delivered in cardboard boxes because there's not enough incubators or beds. That's how nobody should live in our country, and our plan shows how we can fix those things. But our manifesto goes further than just showing what the problem is and putting on the table the solution. It goes further and shows how we're doing these things where we govern, whether it's the war against load shedding in the Western Cape, whether it's being able to bring good, clean, accountable governments in Midvaal and many other places, whether it's delivering on better education outcomes where we govern. It shows very clearly that we're not only talking, we are doing as well where we govern.
Thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you so much.
I'll probably remember that on the 29th, who knows.
Thank you.
John Steenhuisen, the leader of the DA, taking us through and defending that flag controversy, which has sparked controversy amongst people. Back to you in studio.